Before we get into the session, there is a note to the attendees. Attendees, you will also have an opportunity to interact with the speaker and get answers to all your questions. You can also post your questions in the Q&A or else in the chat box, or else you can raise your hand so that I'll allow you to talk. So without any further delay, let's dive into the sea of knowledge and exploration. Greeting and a warm welcome to everyone joining us from the various corners of the digital realm. Today we are going to discuss about the topic unmasking cyber threats, how law enforcement is safeguarding Zambia's digital future. So I'm glad to introduce the speaker of the day, Mr. Rae Hamoonga. So Rae Hamoonga is the Senior Assistant Commissioner of Police and the Head of the Police Public Relationships at the Zambia Police Service. So, over to you, sir.
It's a good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much that have joined us for this very important webinar where we're going to look at the role of law enforcement in Zambia in terms of safeguarding the future of the digital space in Zambia. I hope you are able to share the presentation with me there. I think about some technical hitch. I'll use my phone because of one or two things that happened just while trying to set up the webinar. Now, let me begin by introducing the subject, like I said earlier on, which is safeguarding the future of the digital space in Zambia. And my presentation will go as follows. I hope you're able to show the presentation. The first one, which is the table of contents. I'll do the introduction. After introduction, we'll have the digital landscape in Zambia. Then we'll have the role of law enforcement in protecting the digital space. Thereafter, it will be followed with digital forensics. Then we'll have public awareness and education. Thereafter, legislative frameworks and policies. Then we'll have capacity building, training, and challenges faced by the law enforcement agencies, and case studies and success stories. Then the role of university students, of course, will not leave you out in this discussion, and then we shall have the conclusion. Sorry about that. That being said, I know my phone is there, so I was trying to avoid to use the phone because of the intermittent calls that keep on coming. I was trying to use the laptop, but unfortunately, I couldn't do that. So please bear with me. I'll have intermittent breaks because this phone is always called by various people that want to get information from the police. So on the introduction, I hope you are following me with the slides. I'm on slide number 3. So if you can have slide number 3 on introduction, which is the digital space has revolutionized and the communication and business and access to the information. This has been revolutionized because of the way how we communicate in terms of doing business and also having access to information. And also, while this has brought immense benefits, it has also introduced new risks such as cybercrime, fraud, and online harassment. Okay, so law enforcement plays a pivotal role in ensuring that the digital and environmental space remains safe and secure for everyone in Zambia. So basically, like I've said, the digital space has revolutionized and communication, the way we communicate, the way we do business, and the way we access information, has actually changed. But while this has brought immense benefits, it has also come with a lot of risks, which are cybercrime, fraud, and online harassment. Now let's look at the digital landscape in Zambia as it is of now. Zambia's digital infrastructure has grown rapidly and has increased in terms of internet penetration and also smartphone usage. This growth has also led to increased cyber threats, including hacking, identity theft, phishing, scams, and illegal contents that have spread. So this has actually now brought a challenge. It requires law enforcement officers to move in and solve these challenges that have actually come up. Okay, so what is now, okay, great. Thank you very much. Now, what is now the role of the law enforcement with these challenges that have come up? So because of this, we as law enforcement agencies we had to come up with necessary units that can help in solving these challenges that have befallen the cyberspace in our country. And of course, to do that, we have the cybercrime investigations unit, or we do cyber investigations and prosecution. So the Zambia Police Service has established a specialized cyber crime unit dedicated to investigating digital offenses. Okay, so to do that, of course, we have to use advanced digital technology and collaborate internationally with other agencies or organizations such as Interpol. I'll mention this as we go on in the discussion. Now, the use of these units are using advanced technology and collaborate with international agencies to track and apprehend criminals. So by prosecuting offenders and law enforcement, we ensure that cybercrime is not tolerated or is brought to manageable levels. Okay? By prosecuting these offenders, law enforcement sends a strong message that cybercrime cannot be tolerated in our country. And also collaboration with international and regional partners. Cybercrime, we should understand that it knows no borders, making international cooperation essential. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So we do have, shall we go to slide number 6? Slide number 6? Okay, great. Yes, so law enforcement has developed digital forensic capability to gather and analyze evidence. These skills are crucial for investigating online fraud, data breaches, and child exploitation. Now, as Zambia Police Service, of course, we have our own forensic lab where we ensure that when we're doing investigation, we are able to go and ensure that these cases that we are investigating, we do a thorough job. We have to adduce evidence or gather evidence which we have to take to the courts of law, so that the courts of law can now ably prosecute these persons that are committing these offenses. Okay, so these skills are crucial for investigating crimes such as online fraud, data breaches, and child exploitation. By effectively using digital evidence as law enforcement officers, we can build strong cases against cyber crimes or cyber criminals. Now, we should also make mention, I also like to make mention that cyber criminals, they are well trained and well versed individuals. So even when they are doing these crimes, they ensure that they don't leave any trails behind them, so that we are not able to track them. But since we have developed these digital forensic capabilities, we are able to gather, analyze, and analyze electronic evidence and build up a case or cases against these cyber criminals. Of course, this is not just done easily. It takes time and also effort for us to be able to ensure that these persons are apprehended and then taken to court. Okay, so that is about the digital forensics that we have as Zambia Police Service, which we keep on developing. Of course, it's not a one thing. It's not a one-off thing. We keep on developing these labs to help us to track or bring these culprits to book. So this actually leads me to now to public awareness and education. So I'll request you to go to the next slide. Okay, great. Thank you. So now on public awareness, what is it that we are doing as police to ensure that the members of the public are aware of what is happening, or how can that help us in the fight against cybercrime? So through public awareness and education, as law enforcement agencies, we work to educate the public about the risks associated with digital space. And of course, one of the efforts that we do is such as the collaboration that we have had with you people today. And we are going to, I'm sure at the end of the day, people will be enlightened. Your students will be enlightened with what they shouldn't do and what they should do going forward. So campaigns on topics like online scams, cyberbullying, safe internet practices help citizens protect themselves. So when citizens are made aware of the risks of the cyberspace, what they can have on this, what they can suffer on the cyberspace, once they are aware, it helps in the fight against cyber crimes. These initiatives target schools, universities, as well as yourselves today, communities, empowering individuals to be vigilant on the digital world. Now, you are aware that most of the victims actually of cybercrime, it doesn't actually spare the students themselves. Students of universities are actually victims of cyberspace, cybercrime. And as you will be able to see in our presentation today, we have one of the success stories, which actually the victims were in fact the students themselves, or the students themselves, like students like yourselves, that were actually lured into this crime that I'm going to cite as an example today. So, of course, having talked of all these things that we are talking about, we cannot forget to talk about the legal framework, because the legal framework gives the law enforcement officers powers of how they can fight crime or cybercrime. So that leads me to the next slide. Maybe we can have the next slide, please. Okay. Now, the legal framework, as it is in Zambia, we have laws such as the Cyber Security and Cyber Crimes Act, which are enforced to fight cybercrime. So the Zambian government has enacted the laws such as the Cyber Security and Cyber Crimes Act to address digital threats. And law enforcement agencies, we are responsible for enforcing these laws, ensuring that offenders face justice. Okay? And these laws are continuously being reviewed so that they remain effective against the emerging cyber threats. Also, the Penal Code Act, Chapter 7 Law of Zambia, is one of such law that we use to ensure that the persons that are behind the keyboards, so to speak, or in the cyberspace that are trying to take advantage of and suspecting persons are brought to book. So with these laws that we have, at least gives us powers to ensure that we face these criminals legally and with authority to ensure that they are brought before the courts of law and made to answer for their actions. Okay. So, like in the penal code, it is there. It gives us also the powers to ensure that we arrest persons that are involved in these criminal activities and brought before the courts of law. So this is what we have as of now in terms of legal legislative framework and policies. We have the Cyber Security and Cyber Crimes Act to address the digital threats that we have in the country and that we may face. Okay, then this leads me now to capacity building. What is it that we are doing to ensure that our officers are kept abreast or they're able to deal with these crimes? So can we have the next slide, please? Okay, so on the capacity building of our officers as law enforcement agencies, we have personnel that we ensure that they are up to date with the latest cyber threats and technologies. So meaning we keep on training them to ensure that they are kept abreast, and also monitor the trends that are obtaining on the cyberspace so that we are able to follow up with the criminals. Okay, we also have collaboration with international agencies which provide access to cutting-edge training programs. We have, for instance, we have Interpol. Zambia is a member of Interpol, which is a world governing body on policing. And as such, because of that, we do have exchange programs and trainings that our officers are exposed to through the Interpol organization. They, of course, because of the crime trend that we see obtaining on the world scene, they do develop specialized programs that will help us to tackle the cyber threats that we may face at that particular time. So as such, our officers are exposed to these cutting-edge training programs so that they're able to ably handle cyber threats or crimes that are happening. So we continuously do reviews of these trainings as police. We have, for instance, Interpol, like I said. We also have with the SAPCO, which is Southern African Police Regional Operation Organization, where officers are exposed to these trainings so they're able to meet the criminals head on the ground. Okay. Apart from that, capacity building, we also have, of course, we're not short of challenges that we face as the law enforcement agents. So maybe I can also ask you to move to the next slide, which is on the challenges faced by law enforcement agents. Of course, anything that you do is not short of challenges. Okay. Even people that are in education, like students that are studying now, they do face challenges in terms of maybe literature or the right books that they need to do or to read in order to achieve what they are intending to study. So the challenges that we are facing as law enforcement agencies are that we have rapid technological changes which make it difficult to stay ahead of cyber criminals. Okay, like I said earlier on, there's been a rapid there's been an evolution of communication and the way we do business, and also access to information is becoming easier. While this has brought immense benefits, it has also come with challenges, because criminals can take advantage of the advancement of technology to use it for other means. For instance, when you talk of mobile scams, you see, with the advent of mobile money transfers, okay, people are able to transfer money easily using a mobile phone. But again, the same system that is so good, or that may appear to be very good, criminals are taking advantage of such a forum to abuse or achieve their ended goals. For instance, if you have a mobile money account, somebody will just maybe send you a message and telling that send this money to this number. Okay. Now, when they are doing this, these criminals, they don't do it knowing that you are about to send money. They just do it at random. So they're just basically trying to fish or chance. Okay. They're just trying to send messages to people, and people are able to, other people are caught up in the web and they're able to send money where they're not able I mean, they're able to, they're able to send money to where they're not even supposed to send it. So you might find that they are caught up in the web when someone sends a message, and intentionally, of course, them they are just sending intentionally, and intentionally, I mean, they are just sending randomly. So people, others are caught up in that web. So other issues, again, we are looking at the issue of like the newly elected cyber crime law being challenged in the course of law. People asking or maybe questioning their privacy. So maybe this law is intruding on our privacy. We know that in this country, we have a constitution, the supreme law, which guarantees each person's privacy. So any law that people feel that may have some infringement on their personal rights, they are free to advance such a case to the court of law. So these are some of the challenges that we face. Like I said earlier on, there are rapid technology changes that make it difficult to stay ahead of the criminals, because whatever technology comes up, criminals also seeing how they can use that technology to their advantage. Okay. The other issues, of course, limited resources that make it also a bit difficult for us to do our work as we may want to do it. We are living in the world of challenges, and resources, everybody is not short of resources, because we need more resources for us to be able to effectively police cyber crime, because cyber crime has no borders. For instance, maybe a crime that can be committed here, somebody could be out of the country, and you may need even to extradite such a person and bring him back to here where he committed a crime. Now, that also has its own implications. For instance, if somebody commits a crime here and runs into a country where we have no extradition treaties with them, where we have not signed an extradition, we cannot go in that country and get that person, bring him here, answer the charges that he committed because of the jurisdiction issues. Okay, so and mostly actually people that commit these cyber crimes, they are actually out of the borders, most of them, because they know for the fact that if they are here, you'll be able to track them and be able to arrest them. Now, because of that, of them being able not to be in the country, and they know that it's not easy for law enforcement officers to get them from there, they will be able to hide or run and hide in a country where they know that we may not have jurisdictional authority to go and get such person. Okay, so that is about resource limitations and the jurisdictional issues, which complicate investigation, because cyber crimes, like I was saying, they have no borders, and actually not even cyber crime, but crime in general, criminals actually in general they know no borders, because they're able to cross another country and commit a crime and run over to another country. Like I said, why we may not have extradition treaties or be able to follow them up. Okay, so let me, having mentioned the challenges, however, though we have these challenges, let me also bring you to the aspect of the case studies and success stories. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, thank you. So on the next slide, we're talking about case studies and success stories. Of course, we had the arrest of 7 Ugandans who were in collaboration with the Zambian counterpart, hacked the banking system of a named commercial bank and stole a lot of money. This is one of the stories that is a success story that we were able to investigate as police and with the help of other law enforcement agencies, and we're able to apprehend this person, and then of course they are taken to court, and the rest is history. Now, we also had a case of Pamela Super and the other 12 girls that were abducted. We used most of the cyberspace to track these persons using the use of our forensic lab to ensure that we track these persons that were behind this abduction. And now this actually brings me to the very important subject that we're discussing today, that will lead into also mentioning what role university students can also be able to play. Now, if you look at this particular case that we had involving Pamela Super and others, of course, Pamela Super was a mobile money agent, but the victims that were also found to be part of Pamela Super were actually students, okay, who were easily lured into this aspect, okay. Others would maybe say, okay, maybe you want me to loan you money, come with your laptop, then I'll loan you this kind of money, and then they go there, they were lured. Maybe others were being lured, for instance, maybe someone would say, okay, the other person who's been lured into being abducted is confined there, and then in reaching out to others, maybe you should even tell your friend, please come and meet me at such a point. When that person goes there, or maybe bring me such a thing, maybe a laptop or something in my room, and when they get there, they are also gotten abducted. So students need also to be very alert. You need to be up to the time and also know the trends. Follow the reports that we give as police in relation to crimes that are happening, so that you don't fall victim. Okay, because of your nature of your times that you are living in now, you are a busy student and you are doing things quick. You are still young. You need to be alert of what is happening. Do not be lured into this thing. For instance, like even issues of mobile money scams, where you just receive a message, someone saying, no, please, I've sent you money. Could you kindly send me back this kind of money? Please take your time. Take your time. Don't rush. It's not you who has made a mistake. So take your time to ensure that you verify what is the person is claiming, whether it's true or not. Because if you rush, you end up sending money which is actually yours and which is not his money. Okay, so students need to stay alert in terms of what is happening on the cyberspace. And please, when you go in the cyberspace, ensure that you do not share things that border on your personal identity. I know we like posting things, pictures, others even go as posting their names. These are tools that you put or you lay bare for criminals to get onto you. So you must be very careful what you post on your social media. Personal data at all times should be protected. Do not just share your personal data anyhow. Be sure of what you are sharing. Other persons, for instance, they'll post maybe a post and they say, please share with me your WhatsApp line. Okay, now without thinking much, you share WhatsApp line, and then they'll get to WhatsApp line and even hacking your WhatsApp line. And let's ensure that all the time we have data protection or maybe passwords to ensure that our personal data is protected by ensuring that we have the right password on our phones or on our WhatsApp pages. And avoid using the same password for all your accounts. For instance, if you have an email address, you have the same password. If you have the WhatsApp, you have the same password. Even the phone itself, it has the same password. Let's avoid doing that, because that makes it easier for criminals to get at you if they once you have a cyber attack. Now let's look at the next slide, which now takes me to the role of students, or university students. What is their role in the matter that we are discussing today? Can we have the next slide, please? Okay, thank you. So what is the role of the students? Of course, like I said earlier on, university students are vulnerable to cyber attacks that can be allies. You can be allies actually in the fight against cyber crime. So students, you are among the most active users on the digital space, making you vulnerable to cyber threats. So we are encouraging you to be responsible online behavior by reporting suspicious activities and participating in cybersecurity programs that can make you students valuable allies in the fight against cybercrime. So please, for instance, if you are studying IT, we expect you to be able to looking at what cases we are facing as police, and even when, for instance, maybe even taking time to do a research, how the police can be able to fight cybercrime, and then getting our challenges and knowing how we have been convicting the other person and coming up with better, maybe for instance, even a software to track these persons, or even better ways of how the police can be able to police or arrest this person. Okay, so by pursuing studies in cybersecurity, IT, or digital forensics, students can contribute to the Zambian efforts to secure the digital environment. Like I said earlier on, the cyber criminals that we have that are doing these crimes, they are well-versed personnel in IT. Okay, other persons that are well trained and they're able to, like I said earlier on, they ensure that when they're committing these crimes, they even go to a point of even covering all their tracks, like such that even when we are uncovering their tracks, you really have to sweat, okay? Because these are professionals. They're not just maybe people who don't know what they're doing. They have this know-how, and unfortunately, they are using this know-how to commit crimes. Okay, so students, you are a better ally to us as police in fighting a cyber crime, and we want to encourage you to be able to play a role by pursuing studies like, for instance, cybersecurity, IT, and digital forensics, so that you help this country be a better country. Because what will it help you, for instance, if you have this knowledge and you work so hard, like for instance, people have worked so hard to get their money, and then from all of a sudden, a scammer just comes there and wipes off everything that that person has worked for. Other persons have even lost their money, for instance, pensions, through the cyber scam. So you need to be able to be responsible citizens, be able to help this country move forward so that we can have a safe digital space as a nation. And you who are in the university as of now, undergoing your studies, you are the better placed persons, fresh brains, still young, and you're able to direct your energies towards efforts that will be able to make this country a safe place. Okay, can go to the next phase, next slide, and that now goes to my conclusion. So the future of the Zambia's digital space depends on collective effort to combat cyber threats. It's not a one thing that you can just let to the police and or law enforcement agencies, not at all. So as law enforcement agencies, we are at the forefront of this battle, working tirelessly to create a safe online environment. Okay, so by staying informed, vigilant, and proactive, everyone, including university students, can contribute to safeguarding the future of our digital space in Zambia. So this is not an issue that can just be led to the police themselves, ourselves as police officers, but it calls for collective effort to combat cyber threats. For instance, like I said earlier on, if you see anything that is wrong, you as the student, you are able to report this matter so that investigated. Okay, so investigations, what they do is that once we investigate, we're able to establish the facts and not speculation. Because you know when we receive reports from various persons, at times people are just speculating. They are not necessarily reporting what is happening. For instance, others will just come up with a story because they hate somebody and report a matter to the police. But when we investigate as police, we're able to get the facts. And that actually brings out to the fore the actual facts or the truth of what has transpired. So we encourage you to please continue making reports. Of course, other investigations may take long, but that's not to say that they're not being investigated. It may take long to conclude, but the fact that we've made a report, it helps in ensuring that the criminals, they are made accountable for their actions. With that said, I thank you all. And that leads me to my last slide, which is slide number 14, which says, thank you all. And now I'd like to open the floor for clarifications, for contributions and questions. Thank you.
So attendees, you can also raise your hand so that I will allow you to talk. Any other
Okay.
questions from the attendees in? Yeah. So any other questions from the attendees in? You can raise your hand or you can post your questions in the chat box. So attendees, yes, Mr. Jones, you can talk.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Good afternoon, presenter. My name is Jones from Smart Zambia. I'm privileged to be amongst the attendees in this forum. My question is directed to the presenter. What I want to find out is how is the Zambia police working in collaboration with ZICTA? Because I, for one, still think we can do better than where we are. Thank you.
Maybe we can have another question so that we can maybe respond maybe 2 or 3 in a row, or unless it's the only question.
So any other questions from the attendees in? So any other questions from the attendees in?
Okay, maybe I can go ahead to respond to Jones from Smart Zambia. Thank you very much, Jones, for your question. Of course, when we are on such forums, we don't go into details to unleash our strategies because definitely, if the more, of course, even I'm very sure that even as we are talking this subject or discussing this subject here, there are persons that not mean well that are listening and would like to get more information of what we are doing as police, so that they're able to move on or maybe do even commit their crimes better. Now, of course, I cannot, I would categorically state that we are working very well with Zicta because of its position being a regulatory of all telecoms and service providers. We work very well with Zicta. We have a national cyber task force that work with them. Of course, people may not understand exactly the role of Zicta, but not necessarily. People think that Zicta is an enforcement unit, which is not right or which is not true, because you know that Zicta's role is that of regulating the service providers. So when it comes to enforcement of laws or arresting of persons, it's the police that does that. So we collaborate very well with Zicta. We're working very well, and the support that we get from them is overwhelming and is good. And the only thing is that our members of the public, they direct so much effort to blaming Zicta, because I've seen that, for instance, like me, from having been being the spokesperson of the Zambia Police Service, I've seen that people even at times they will say, no, Zicta is not doing anything, not arresting people. But Zicta does not have that aspect of arresting persons. But we arrest them in collaboration with Zicta to ensure that persons are brought to book. And also, I've seen, for instance, if somebody receives a message, okay, a scamming message, or what that person needs to do, and Zicta has been talking over this thing over and over and over and over. For instance, if you receive a scamming message, all what you need to do is to dial *707# on your own, and be able to get rid of that scammer or that person that is sending a scamming message. By so doing, you are making a formal report, and it has been very easy. Just on your phone, you do it, so that Zicta now goes to check in the records and find if that person has been sending scammer message, and they remove that number. I remember very well, is it 2 weeks ago, where Zicta announced the register. I mean, where they registered about 40,000 SIM cards. SIM cards, all these which are being used by people that are scamming people. So, like I said, this effort is actually a collective effort. If we start saying, pointing fingers, saying no, this institution is not doing very well. But even you as an individual, you can able to do something. Like I said, for instance, the issue of reporting is coming. If you receive an associated message or a scamming message, forward into this on your phone. You dial *707#. By so doing, you are fighting cybercrime. But if you don't do that, it means we'll keep on having this thing. And also, responsibility on us as citizens. Ourselves, as citizens, at times, we want to buy even SIM cards that are already pre-registered. Now, what that does, it means people who buy cards that are pre-registered, the chances of them committing crimes is very high, because they know that their identity is withheld. So even people that are actually selling SIM card, even telecommunication companies should also ensure that people that are sending SIM cards are able to sell SIM cards to persons that actually have registered them or they're registered in their names. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for that clarity, sir. Now, the next question, I don't know how I can be assisted, because I may have been a victim of what I can say a failed assistant from the network service providers, which I will not mention, but if probed, I can. However, what happened was there was a time when I started receiving notifications on my phone in form of text saying about 8 numbers were being registered under my NRC. So to that effect, I went to the network service providers outlet, lodged the complaint, and the procedure of getting that assistance frustrated me, and I regretted going there. To start with, the calling of the call center is practically impossible to be assisted. Going to the outlet was more frustrating than even me watching someone using my NRC, which apparently I'm very much aware that may cause harm to me and also to someone out there, knowing that my other numbers are registered on my name and my NRC. So I don't know how that message can be forwarded clearly to the network service providers as to when such a complaint goes and how fast it should be handled. Because when I saw these messages, instantly I made that request, and unfortunately, even up to date, sir, I've not been assisted. I don't know how many
Okay.
numbers have been registered on my or using my
Okay.
NRC. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Let me begin by stating that this is why we have a problem, because we direct so much effort to persons that are not supposed to be responsible for what we are complaining. For instance, you are talking of SIM cards being registered against under your name, which you are not aware. Now, if a mobile subscriber or provider is not able to do what they're supposed to do because you have complained, this is what I was saying, that, like for instance, Zicta, their role is being a regulator. So you can report that query or that complaint. Actually, Zicta is better place to handle that case, because themselves, like I said, like I've said, that they have registered the SIM card. It's actually, sorry about that. There was an incoming call. Let me repeat what I was saying. I was saying that Zicta being a regulatory agency or agents for these mobile providers. So, like your case is better, it can be better handled by Zicta, because you may report that case to Zicta. Say, well, I have this, like even that same number I've mentioned, the star 077 hash. I think it has a provision for that. But however, if that doesn't have, you can lodge your complaint with Zicta formally. Say that you and report that to the service provider. Say, I'm a subscriber of this service provider, and amongst the numbers that I registered lawfully is this number, but I have these other numbers that are reported registered in my name. Or simply put it that my only number that is registered under my name legally is this one. Any other number, please, I request that it be registered under this NRC number. That is as simple as that. I know Zicta cannot fail to handle such a case. Definitely, they will move in and be able to register those other SIM cards that are registered under your name. Okay. So please, even the issue of calling the call center that is non-responsive, like I said, Zicta plays the role of being a regulator. So you can report that thing to Zicta. Say, well, I've reported, I've done ABCD. The challenge that I see myself is that we are so hesitant to stand up to report. The way justice is secured or is saved in this country, that we have to make a formal report. Without a formal report, we cannot have the wheels of justice certainly, because these persons that are in these offices or in these offices that are responsible for ensuring that justice is saved, they need to have a formal report, justification for them to stand up and start doing an investigation. Okay, like for instance, if you don't report with Zicta, you'll be going to the same person that are not responsive to you, and you continue going there. So you actually maybe wasting time going to a wrong person who's not responsive. But if you go to, for instance, like go to Zicta, Zicta will be able to respond to the complaint that you have raised yourself. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So, attendees, the polls have been launched. You are requested to attend the polls. So, any other questions from the attendees in, or shall we end this session, sir?
Okay, if people are not asking me questions, I would gladly to take leave, because today was my sports day. I was supposed to be doing my sports. Unfortunately, I think we didn't agree well with my colleague. I thought I told them that the webinar would be on the 2nd, and then they told me that no, you told us on the 3rd. So actually today is our sports day. I was supposed to be doing some sports to relieve my stress. As you may be aware that our office is very stressful. We keep on talking and answering to various persons that are out there. But first of all, lastly, let me just start by saying that I'd like to thank you, Texila University, for this very important subject. And we look forward to have more engagement in the fight against crime. We are very happy as police for giving this opportunity to talk to the students. And please, students, don't take that time for granted. Ensure that you utilize that time that you are at that university to ensure that you get the best out of that university. Your parents have spent so much money to ensure you that you are at that college. And for us as Zambia Police, we look forward to a lot of collaborations in the fight against crime so that we can together have a better and safe environment in Zambia. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So it's really informative session to our students. So thank you for joining us for the today's webinar, sir. Thank you so much. By this, we will end the session. Just a minute. Yes, Mr. Jones.
Okay. Thank you very much for having been given the opportunity to attend. Though this is a very educative topic. I'm personally more into cybersecurity. So any topic related to cybersecurity, I'm very much interested. But I feel you needed to advertise it even more, because the person that sent me the link is actually someone who's in the United States, and me, a local, hasn't heard it. Yes, it's intended to maybe probably be in-house, but I think we need to do more. There are a lot of cyber threats out there, so many, so many. But with this kind of information and this kind of sessions, I believe as Texila University, this step is in the right direction. So thumbs up, really thumbs up.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jones.
Yes, indeed. I think I want to agree with Jones that these are, people have lost a lot of money and through cybercrime, and it's important that we take. It's actually commendable that Texila has taken the step forward to come forward and do such a thing. I know that it has not been easy, especially I want to thank Mwaka. Texila, please, you have a very good person or asset in the name of Mwaka, who was busy pestering me. With my big schedule, it's not easy to sit down and come up with a topic and then also have spare some time to do such a thing. But however, we are available as long as you engage us as police. We are available, and not necessarily personally, but as an institution, we are available to such topics so that we can be able to better our country. And also, maybe John's coming from Smart Zambia. I know that Smart Zambia also is responsible for our e-governance systems, and please, it would be good to meet in person so that we can chat forward or chat strategies that can help the Zambian populace protect themselves against the cyberspace or cybercrime that is obtaining in this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So, by this, we will end the session. A big virtual thank you to each and everyone for making our webinar a grand success. So, thank you, Mr. Rae Hamoonga. Thank you so much for joining us.